Time's up. Admiral.
Here it comes.
Chevron 1, coded.
For my ally is the Force, and the powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow.
You failed your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Cry hammer, and let's set the dogs of war.
Chevron 2 is coded.
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, to hear the lamentation of the women.
It's all in the reflexes.
Paul also said you're heavy into martial arts, Tai Chi and all that killer stuff. I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
Chevron 3 encoded.
And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I will.
Chevron 4 encoded.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Chevron 5 encoded.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Chevron 6 encoded.
Not for while you can, monk boy.
Great Scott.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
You shall not pass!
I thought I'd die fighting side by side with Al.
What about side by side with a friend?
A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day.
Chevron 7 is locked.
Hail and howdy, everybody. Welcome back to another Saturday Night Drive-In where we take a break from all the nonsense and talk movies. And today,
the break, huh?
Oh, this one is gonna be a special one today. I honestly don't know how long we're gonna go because fuck this movie. I know you didn't do this out of malice. You did this because you wanted the interesting breakdown that we're gonna do, but oh man. Anyway, we're happy to have you all here across both our channels. Jed, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yes, my motivation was not malice for it, but it does feel like a little bit of vindication. It does feel like a little bit of revenge, but that was a secondary motivation. And I feel like we're finally starting getting even for the golden child. So
listen, all I know is that Rachel is as pissed as you as I am for this.
She is not happy with me.
Now she and I are on the same side of this kind of thing. Why did you do this to us? Why? This movie. Anyway,
it legitimately gave her a headache. So yeah, I'm not in good graces right now.
I just was sitting there like this whole time. Well, listen, and Jed will confirm as we go along because we'll talk about it as we get to the points. I purposefully was messaging Jed while I was watching this movie because I wanted him to know at certain moments of this when I realized this is happening. This is happening, and Jed can confirm that I was like...
He predicted every twist in the movie. I was actually quite impressed.
Because it's just like, it's right there in front of me. It's like, oh, yo, and I'll walk you through it when we go through it. Anyway, but how are you doing, Jed, otherwise? You all right?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing great. Plenty of bad content to talk about, to laugh about that we'll get into tomorrow, but some good content. I have some exciting writing stuff that's coming up right now. So the news might come out in the next month or two. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, very good.
Excellent. I'm privy to it, and it is some cool stuff, guys. So I look forward to those announcements. Either way, hell and howdy, everybody across both the chats. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channels if you have not. And we hope you enjoy the rest of the show, whether watching now live or on the replay. Okay, so Ethan Hawke, Predestination. Jed, why don't you start us off?
All right, I do need to start this conversation off with the disclaimer.
Yeah.
This is not a good movie. I'd never thought it was. I did remember enjoying it slightly more than this, but that was like a decade ago. So, you know, my tastes have changed, and I've recognize things that I wouldn't otherwise have. But I do enjoy this film, not from a like I actually think it's secretly good or anything like that. It is just a matter of, man, this is bad, and like point and laugh at it because it falls in a lot of the writing mistakes of time travel and stuff like that. Way too much setup with very little payoff. There's so many issues with this. There's none. Payoff. But this movie, I like to show first-time writers. I've actually done it before. Show a first-time writer and say, all right, this is how you do something like this bad. So it makes it very clear for new writers what certain pitfalls are. And so I see it as an educational and humorous watch. So I still do enjoy this film, but it's not good by any stretch of the imagination.
Before I let you dive into what exactly is going on here, I just want to preface two things. One, when you read the preview, like the blurb of what this movie is, that is not what this movie is.
Not at all.
This is not chasing down some temporal terrorist. It isn't. Two, nothing happens in this movie.
It really doesn't.
I'm going to bring this up now. We're going to come back to it. This thing is locked in its own tiny little weird temporal loop. There's not even, they don't even attempt to say, I mean, I know they think they're being clever, rooster, egg, chicken, all that shit. Yeah, no, it has to start someplace. This isn't the Force using the midichlorians to make Anakin be born to deal with something where we have science fiction fantasy where we're dealing with a thing, and I'm bringing it up specifically because it's acolyte bullshit going on right now.
It's
relevant. People can understand that it's relevant. This isn't that, because that's what I was thinking when I was watching this. I'm thinking, wow, this is actually a little bit relevant considering the conversations going on with Force Immaculate Conception.
Pride Month too.
Yeah. So, oh my God. Listen, here's the thing. It's not so much pride. Listen, a Hermie ain't so much pride. It's a biological thing.
Yeah, they people can co-opt it into pride, but it is a biological abnormality.
An abnormality. It is, but it's just the whole thing is. This is degeneracy. This movie is goddamn degeneracy on parade. Oh my! I'm gonna make a joke towards the end of it.
Well, look, I do want to preface something that Adam will get, and we'll get it. I think one big problem, like with the you're talking about, like this needs to have an end. There's a reason why the hermaphrodite is in the story. It's because this isn't just a shallow gene pool. It's not even a gene puddle. It's just a gene. It's not, oh, you're your own grandpa. It's a little bit worse than that.
It's much worse than your own grandpa.
They at least explain why this perfect hermaphrodite, perfectly functioning hermaphrodite is possible.
You said to me last week, wait till you get to the baby. And I thought, okay, what is some baby gonna be kidnapped or something? And it's gonna no. I don't. We have to march through this.
Do you want to go through the story chronologically, or the way the story the movie presents?
Presents.
Okay.
Because chronologically is gonna.
All right,
it's gonna break some people. Go ahead, let's go.
The overall description of this movie, without going into spoilers, we're going to have to talk about spoilers, but for right now, it follows Ethan Hawke's time cop basically from the future, at least relative to the story. It's like he's from the 1980s. Functionally, that's where the time cops are headquartered, and his job is to track down a time criminal called the Fizzle Bomber, who's been bombing the shit out of New York. At the beginning of the movie, it goes poorly. He gets injured, so he's no longer hunting the Fizzle Bomber. His job is to, as it's presented, at least at the beginning of the film, recruit his replacement. And that's kind of where the plot presents itself. Not all of that is accurate information, but that is what the movie wants you to think within the first 20 minutes.
Now, you want to stop right here. My first clue to the twist was when I don't even recognize your voice is different, and I don't recognize myself. That was my first clue, and I think, okay, that means something. That his voice is now gravelly and different. I don't recognize my own voice. I don't recognize my own face. And from there, as the pieces fell into place, I realized what was going to happen in the middle of the bar, saying, all right, so let's keep going. So he goes on his final mission to recruit his replacement, and right away, and I'm going to say chick because it really is a woman being done up as a man. The actress, I don't even know her name.
It is an actress. Yeah, it's the same actress for the.
Yeah.
Both of them.
I realized, wow, that's a really effeminate dude. That's a chick. That was my first thought. That's a chick being a dude. Okay.
The time cop from the future, Ethan Hawke, he shows up in this bar, and he's a bartender, and randomly this, like you're talking about, a very effeminate looking man starts drinking to the bar, and they start up a conversation.
And and at first, here's the thing. This is going to go on for we're going to start now. It goes on for 40 plus minutes, like 45 minutes, half the movie.
Too long.
This backstory of the dude, the chick who looks like a dude, who actually was a chick who is a dude, was a dude, name it came. Do I still have the clip here from Mrs. Doubtfire on here, or did I take it off? Let me see. No, I don't think I have it on here. I know it's in my video files, but I think I took it off my clip thing. Yeah, I don't have it anymore. Well, he's a she, he's a she, he. The backstory as it goes on for 45 minutes. That's more than half the movie. And I about 30 minutes in, I realized, wait a minute, the story's still going. It's still going. And even when it was done, it kept going.
We didn't need half of it. You could get the nuggets of the information in 15 minutes pretty easily.
And that's when I
way
realized
bloated.
That's when I realized, wow, first of all, Ethan Hawke is barely in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's starring Ethan Hawke, I think, for all of maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes of screen time. There's no hunt for the bomber. Well, I realized that. I'm like, right, they're not even hunting this guy.
Nope.
No, there's
the bomber feels like an afterthought until the epilogue.
Yeah. So he sits down. Ethan Hawke entertains the chick who looks like a dude, who is a dude, at the bar, and they strike this conversation. And I bet I've heard all kinds of weird shit. Oh, you never heard my weird ass story. Okay. Tell me your weird ass story. So, Jed, start off the weird ass story for us.
All right. So this very effeminate looking man is presented, starts telling this weird story to Ethan Hawke's bartender, and says, back when I was a little girl. So yes, the character was originally a little girl. So the story, I'm going to try to rush through this. This baby girl was dropped off at an orphanage, nowhere it came from, just absolutely out of the blue. Raised in the orphanage, kind of weird, kind of moody, doesn't fit in. It's presented as mostly, normal developmental stuff, depression, whatnot. But she's also stronger than she should be, fighting with the boys. And after she leaves the orphanage, because no one wants to adopt her, when she becomes an adult, she gets hooked up with this space corps that is making prostitutes for astronauts.
Is that what that was? I was like, wait, so they're just making whores.
This whole universe is kind of weird. Technology is advanced. She was born in 1945, but in the early 60s, they're still their astronaut programs are massively more advanced. Like there's already international space stations and stuff like that. And apparently the men need some sexual release. So they're training super smart astronaut prostitutes. And that's what she's gonna be. But after a fight with the chick, she flunks out because they actually medically examine her in depth for the first time, because I guess they weren't actually fist fighting like the movie said. They must have been fisting instead. And that's where the damage was. But something was discovered by the doctors when they were checking her out after the fight that disqualified her. Don't know what that was yet. And then she
I knew at that point. I freaking knew at that point. I'm like, wait, there's a ding dong in there.
But and then she goes back to school. She meets this guy. She falls in love with him, and he disappears all of a sudden. It's
all right, stop right there. Basically. I knew. This is where it started falling into place because of the way they shot the scenes, where she would talk and you wouldn't see it from a distance. It was this, and I'm thinking, okay, it is something's going on here that's related to the time travel.
Yes. They don't want you to know who her boyfriend was.
And my thought is, okay, it is the Fizzle Bomber. Well, of course I'm right, but I was right for the wrong reasons at that point. And then then she gets knocked up by
after the guy disappears,
and he's vanished. She finds knocked up, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a single mom. It's a purpose. It's gonna be great." And here's where I started. This is where the pieces exactly fell into place right before the reveal. It says, "I'm gonna name her Jane."
That's the main chick's name, the one who grew up in the orphanage
Yeah,
and whatnot,
yeah.
and became a man somehow eventually.
Because she just got revealed that she was a Hermie, and when we're saying hermaphrodite, I'm being kind here. And she says, I'm going to name her Jane, and I said this to Jed. I said 39 minutes 50 seconds. She's gonna be her own mom.
And
then
it gets worse though. So yeah, she has this baby from the mystery man, and for some reason, having this baby, apparently her uterus was underdeveloped, but just barely developed enough to have a baby, even though she's like 20 or 22, like early 20s.
She's in her 20s. She's in her
Yeah.
20s. Yeah.
For some reason, giving birth rips apart her insides to the point where the doctors have to take out her uterus, her ovaries, and whatnot. And while they're doing that, they find a fully functioning set of male genitalia and organs and everything in there too. So while they're saving her life, they flush out her feminine organs and bring her male organs.
They perform a hysterectomy, and they start reconstructing. They say urinary tract for the male part, and they spend the next couple of years basically doing essentially late 20th century surgery on this now chick who is a dude. And listen, that's what hermaphrodite is. You have all this stuff. So I wasn't thinking agenda or
it
predator. I wasn't thinking any. Yeah.
And they do explain it, like I was saying, the gene pool joke. When you do something like that, you're bound to have some fucked up abnormality. So, like, it isn't from a woke perspective. I wouldn't call this a woke.
Yeah, no, it's not woke. It's just a bad idea. Is what it is. It's just a bad idea. So, as she's going through the surgery, I'm thinking, oh, now she's a dude. Okay, this. And then 20 minutes later, at 1 hour, I messaged yet again. As the guy as now John says to Ethan Hawke, who hasn't given a name yet, says to Ethan Hawke, I just got the news. I'm fully functional. I'm not shooting blanks. Then I said, fucker, he's his own mom and his own dad. And I really, this is degenerate shit. Because then Ethan Hawke says, because now John, who was Jane, is saying, the dude who knocked me up and my baby stone ruined my life. Ruined my life. It is terrible as that. And now Ethan Hawke says, what if I could make sure you could visit vengeance upon this man for ruining your life? Yes. We'll skip over the crap dialogue that they get to that point.
Really bad dialogue.
And they go back in time, and we get information dump on how time travel works, which isn't necessarily bad. It's just lame.
Yeah. It's not a bad mechanic.
It's not.
It's just presented poorly.
Yeah. And they go back to 1963.
Yep.
4? 3 or 4. And
that's when she's at college, right before she's,
because we'd seen the flashback.
Mm-hmm.
We'd seen the flashback. She bumps into it, and there he is with the hat, everything, and everyone realizes, oh, here it comes. And then they bump into each other, and here plays out the scene from both perspectives that we'd already gotten when she met her mystery man who had the $100 bills that saw Ethan Hawke give to him. And everything falls into place right here for me, as Jed can confirm with my messages. As I said that, and then I said, Ethan Hawke's them. Ethan Hawke it's this weird degenerate time of where John falls in love with this guy. I don't even have the word. He falls in love with himself.
So yes. So there's the 20-year-old girl in 1963, but in the future she becomes a man, right? Because she gives birth and fucks up, her male genitalia comes out, and then he goes back in time to kill the baby daddy. Turns out he's the baby daddy. So the lady who becomes a man comes back from the future to fall in love with lady version of himself. They get together and
knock her up.
So, that baby who, as Adam has already revealed, is Jane. So the main character in all this, Jane, isn't just her own mother, isn't just her own father. She is her own father, mother, great-grandfather,
Everything.
great-grandmother, everything.
Everything.
That's where my joke comes in. This isn't a gene pool. It's not even a gene puddle. It's just a gene. It's just one person using time travel and sex change to create themselves.
And right after that, while they're getting together and having their this is degeneracy.
Oh, and he's straight up in love with her. John, the future version.
Love at first sight.
Love at first sight.
Well,
He's legitimately in love with himself.
I mean, listen, there are times, certain point in the day where I'm in love with my hand, but you know, it ends there.
You wouldn't make a baby.
Yeah, nothing's gonna happen. And while they're spending a year together, or maybe just 9 months, I don't know, it's like a year, 4. Yeah, they comes back in 64. Ethan Hawke goes off to try and stop the Fizzle Bomber and catch him, which is a replay of a scene from the beginning of the movie. And they're so bad with their tells. I can spot the costumes that everybody's wearing.
Mm-hmm.
And each time realize,
together.
And realize that, and to begin the movie starts off with Ethan Hawke failing to, what we know is Ethan Hawke's character, failing to stop the Fizzle Bomber as the Fizzle Bomber catches him off guard. And it ends up with a partially contained explosion, but just enough fire gets out that disfigures him and burns him up. And you can see in the beginning, and it's reconfirmed, that it's actually the actress who's playing the dude as Ethan Hawke. You could see it through the makeup. And the scene plays out, and you realize it plays out again here. Ethan Hawke tries to stop the Fizzle Bomber, who seems to know every move he's going to make when they're fighting. Enough to catch his fist. Literally catch his fist. It all comes together as you realize Ethan Hawke comes upon the burned body, pushes the time travel mechanic device things that his old self can teleport out there, and you realize, oh, yeah, Ethan Hawke is John Jane. And once again, I can confirm, I send the message at the timestamp when I'm watching it, when I figured it out, right before it happens, and it's just I think he was even gay for himself later. I just think he comes back to 64. If I feel like I'm rambling, guys, because my brain doesn't want to comprehend the illogic of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe in, when I do time travel rules, I use a combination of regular stuff and time cop time travel. I like time cop time travel rules. Same matter cannot occupy the same space at the same time, otherwise you cause an entropic cascade effect or paradox. This is a walking paradox right here.
They even call it a paradox in the movie. Yeah,
I know. It's a walking paradox. It should not be possible. Time should just collapse on itself. Entropy should be in effect here. And the fact that he can touch himself and do it himself and impregnate himself. But you have to understand, this is my brain is still 24 hours later. I'm still trying to cope with this. Not even 24 hours later. It's not even been 24 hours since I watched this thing. I am still trying to cope with how retardedly illogical this is. And so Ethan Hawke, after failing to stop the Fizzle Bomber and making sure that the loop keeps going, goes back to 64 to the moment where Jane said her boyfriend leaves her and never comes back. And now everybody gets the reveals. And Ethan Hawke saying, I loved her too.
You've now discovered who you are and who she is, but are you ready to find out who I am? That's actual dialogue.
I know. And you got to take over. I got to collect myself again.
No, that's the entertaining part. What should you try?
Laughing too hard, I'm dying. So, all right. So now it's like I've made you my replacement so that the loop keeps going, because now you have to take over for me trying to stop the Fizzle Bomber because I failed. But at this point, you're watching this movie. It's an endless loop. It just keeps going. And,
there is a scene that was in there. Robertson is the leader of this time travel organization. He tried to recruit Jane back in the day. He's Ethan Hawke's boss, and all this was to get John into the Time Cop organization. But Robertson and Ethan Hawke end up in the hospital after the baby's born, and Ethan Hawke is the one who kidnapped the baby and
Kidnaps himself,
takes baby Jane back in time to 1945 and drops her off at the orphanage to start it all. So it is an actual loop.
Yeah.
Baby grows up, becomes a woman. Male version of herself from the future comes back, impregnates her, and then a further male version of herself from the distant future comes back to kidnap baby her and take her back to the past to start it.
You have to wonder how many times has this happened? I was asking myself this: this loop? How long has it been going on? Because now we're going to get the next reveal that Jed can confirm. We get a little bit farther down the road when you're talking to Robinson. When Robinson drops the reveal, you are the best possible version of a time cop because you have nothing. You are nothing. You are just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the Fizzle Bomber is the whole reason we do this. And as soon as he said that, I sent him the timestamp to Jed and I said, motherfucker is the Fizzle Bomber. Because Robinson wants us to keep going so that he has a reason to exist. So that this degenerate time loop is allowed to persist so the time agency can continue to exist.
The time cops help make this degenerate circle happen just to make the Fizzle Bomber, who is Ethan Hawke, so they have the reason for their creation can exist. So
yes.
The time cops exist because of the Fizzle Bomber, but the time cops are the ones who help make the Fizzle Bomber.
And Ethan Hawke as John never actually does anything. He just keeps chasing himself. Never actually doing any other cases. He just works on the Fizzle Bomber so that the Fizzle Bomber can continue to exist in this loop and never stop the loop, because they well know that the more loops he does as John into Ethan Hawke, he gets mentally unstable.
Yeah, the time travel mechanics, it messes with your brain. He said it's the onset of dementia if you use the time machine too often.
And they specifically give him his violin case, which is the time travel device. We never see inside it. So it malfunctions and doesn't decommission, so that he can just keep going over and over again, keep looping. And because he gets mentally destabilized, he thinks that by killing people as the Fizzle Bomber, he's saving lives in the future. He even keeps a scrapbook when Ethan Hawke puts it all together himself later on and goes to confront him and finds himself. And you realize it's him because we'd already seen the Fizzle Bomber wearing his, I guess,
wrappy wig and beard.
Yeah, and this outfit that looks like a delivery guy outfit. And so you realize the whole thing here, and he during that conversation, crazy older Ethan Hawke, and I'm just calling him Ethan Hawke because at this point I'm just going to call him that because he never.
It's too confusing to say John.
Yeah. So older Fizzle Bomber Ethan Hawke is completely off his fucking rocker. Is trying to convince Ethan Hawke, who is still somewhat sane, that they have to keep doing this because it's about saving lives, and you're going to become me. I'm going to tell you all the horrible things that you're going to do before you get to me that's going to make you want to do it. Or he tries to. And at one point he even says, I still love you. We still love each other. I swear to God, he wanted to be gay with him. He wanted to be, not only did he want to be like hetero with his girl version of them, Jane version, but I swear to God, at that point, he was ready to be full on gay with himself.
Well, I mean,
I swear to God.
Girl version of him was attracted to men, so that desire is still there.
I guess. I mean, listen, yeah, he really does go both ways.
Yeah.
He really does go both ways. And it's just...
But after all this, for the people who hadn't picked up on all of this, like Adam had, they do the big Ethan Hawke is actually Jane John reveal by having him stand up with his shirt off, and he's got the gender surgery scars all over his chest. That's how they reveal it.
If we hadn't already known it, I mean, he says it so plainly.
He does say it sometimes, like, I used to be a writer, I did the confession stories, and then he's typing on the typewriter, and he's like, my name is Jane. He's like, wait, no, my name is John. It's not good.
And it's just And then somewhat sane Ethan Hawke shoots Fizzle Bomber Ethan Hawke,
closing the end of the loop.
No, you think? Well, because now he's going to become.
Well, that's
him.
what I mean.
You know, okay, yeah. I was going to say because they think they're being clever. That is he going to end it all, and is he going to gank himself? Because it looks like he's getting ready maybe to gank himself. And he just looks in the camera, and guess what? Movie's over. 1 hour 37 minutes of this shit. That's it, guys.
There's 2 characters in this movie.
3 if you count Robertson.
Oh, I was counting Robertson as one of the 2.
You got me.
Because Jane, John are all one person. Jane, John. They're played by like 7 different actors because there was like the 3 young Janes too. Yeah. So 7 actors played the same character.
You got me. Hey, I was too caught up in my lunacy right now. You got me. Good job. This. I mean, let's take a step. All right, so that's the story, guys. You see how illogical the story is, and what I said earlier when we started this. Grandfather complex, or situation, that's paradox. Thank you.
Oh, they love the song. I'm my own grandpa. They play that like 1,000 times in the movie.
But there has to be a starting point somewhere.
Logic would dictate that, but the movie says very clearly it's a self-generating and perpetuating predestination paradox.
But it has to start somewhere. But it doesn't. Because it's as though this thing has always existed to create the Fizzle Bomber, to create the time agency. And that is just the laziest goddamn storytelling. It's as though, we have our idea, but let's just have the idea and no explanation for the idea. No backstory, no lore, no world building, nothing.
Yeah, there were so many. There's, like we said, the time travel mechanics are fine enough. There are interesting ideas in this movie, but it's drowned out by the 50 minutes of goddamn backstory of how this woman became a man.
And then knocked herself up. And here I am thinking, as I said, 40 minutes, 55 minutes, an hour, thinking, where's the hunt for the bomber? And then, of course, the realization in that moment, he is the bomber. There is no hunt. There is no chase. I was promised in the preview blurbs a time-traveling romp hunting a terrorist. No, this is just some weird, degenerate, borderline snuff film porno.
I mean, there's no sex in the movie.
Well, it's understood.
Yeah, it's implied sex.
It's implied. I mean, getting away from the story, because we told the story. We can't.
It took us half an hour just to describe the plot to everyone, so we can have a foundation of a discussion.
Yeah. What purpose does this movie serve? What story is it trying to tell? That's my question here. I don't have an answer. Do you?
I think the directors just thought they were really smart and pseudo-intellectual, so just wanted to prove how smart they were. So they're like, ooh, Nolan's popular right now. His movies are complicated, and let's make something super complicated, but it doesn't mean anything.
Can we blame Nolan for this? Nolan being successful.
All the greatest directors have bad copy, so I guess you could to a certain extent.
Nolan being successful at fucking with your brain creates a bunch of copycats who are just successful at pissing you off with a lame-ass attempt. Because listen, I think when I go through all the Nolan movies I've seen, the only one that I am marginally entertained by, because I'm not a Nolan guy, not a big fan, was what is it, with Jackman and...
That's Prestige.
Prestige, thank you.
I think that's the best one, but Inception is my favorite.
Prestige had a really good twist ending at the end. It had a really good twist ending that makes sense.
That was set up very well, very subtly
throughout the whole movie, and it worked. And I wasn't pissed off. It was like, oh wow, yeah, okay, I never need to see this again. Good job, but I don't need to see this again. But this,
I'm a big fan of Nolan, and I really like the way he thinks. Even Tenet, which people hate on. I don't know if you've seen Tenet, There
No, I
are
haven't seen
issues
Tenet.
with Tenet, but
Yeah.
it still makes sense, and it's really cool puzzle to solve.
I respect Nolan for what he does, that he's unique and that he has mastered this particular craft of art and storytelling in cinema. But I'm just not a big fan of it because
Yeah.
I don't want to sit down knowing I'm gonna have to deal with a mind fuck every single time I go to your movie. That's the thing. That's the thing. But this Predestination, the mind fuck is a troll. It's like M. Night Shyamalan troll. It's like, oh, what the twist? It's like, no, this isn't a twist. This is degenerate and stupid. And it makes no sense. And you didn't actually tell a story. You gave the entire movie is just a backstory. It's just a backstory of nothing. We don't even know if this time agency is actually successful. Like the chat's talking about right now, it could just be a government agency that just wants to keep its money flow going. We don't know if they actually even do anything. We don't ever see, except for Robertson, we see nobody else time traveling. He says at one point there were 11 time cops. Now that was a little ludicrous to me. A whole agency and just 11 cops. We never see them.
It does seem like they're pretty new. I mean, 1985 was the invention of time travel, so I get the impression that it's a very new agency.
Still, it's just it feels as though we never get any world building as to what this agency actually accomplishes. There's zero world building. It's just this little fucked up time loop is what it is.
Yeah, the whole movie is this time loop. The marketing was incredibly misleading, like you're saying with the blurb for the film. It's entirely misleading. Time travel is almost an afterthought. It doesn't really show up besides the prologue until 110 minutes in.
Yeah.
Or an hour and 10 minutes, excuse me.
Yeah. And I literally, when the movie's starting, I'm thinking, okay, we're in the bar for so long. This has got to be leading us somewhere. This has to be a lead job. Like, oh, no, it really is just the backstory. And then the production value is so basic.
It cost $5 million to make this movie.
Wow, they didn't spend
probably most of that was Ethan Hawke.
Well,
but I also know the box office. They made $4.6 million at the box office. In the domestic box office, they made $43,000. How do you fail and be a flop with a $5 million budget and Ethan Hawke in your movie?
You make a movie that is absolute shit, and the few people that saw it said this is absolute shit, and enough people heard it and say, yeah, we're gonna forget this. I mean, because you think about it, I can see why it's only $5 million. It's literally the same scenes, with the exception of the bar. It's like, oh, let's shoot everybody in one day in this segment. I bet like
there's a lot of repeated scenes with just an additional angle or whatnot. So it's
exactly
a couple scenes butchered and stretched out.
They just shot. I bet they shot this movie in a month
easily. If you can do Venom in a month, you can do this easily in a month.
They shot, and this is 2015, so there's no real it's all practical special effects, makeup, pyrotechnics, no CGI, not really. Everything is in. Yeah. It's nothing complicated.
How was the Darth Vader makeup?
Sticky looking,
sticky,
and I could see it was John Jane in there the second time around when they zoomed the camera out enough when Ethan Hawke goes back and reveals that he's the one that pushes the violin case close to her. That's why. Oh yeah, I could see that's her now. There's no cast. There's, as you said, the main character is played by 7 different people. All the extras are extras. And then there's Ethan Hawke and the dude who played Robinson, who I'm familiar with from other movies. That's kind of
Robertson's good.
Yeah,
the actor.
Yeah, but that's it. There's no cast to speak of. There's no settings to speak of. It's the same couple of scenes over and over again. There's no soundtrack to speak of except for this retarded song they keep playing. There's no soundtrack.
I'm my own grandpa. That's half the music there.
I ask again, what did this movie accomplish? What story is it trying to tell? What is its purpose?
If it came out today, I would say it was trying to say, hey, you can be trans. I don't think that's what the movie was trying to say. No. This is a legitimate hermaphrodite, so it's not a trans situation.
It was filmed in 2014, released in 2015. Trump isn't even elected yet. He's running, but he's not
No.
elected yet. So nobody's brains are broken in Hollywood. They're in the mocking phases. So this has none of the I mean, wokeism existed, but it was still
It's still
in
niche.
it was hiding in plain sight still. It was hiding in the shadows, pulling the strings. A lot of the things that would become woke over the next 3 years, over into 2018, 17, 18, 19, that shit was being put into play. But the agenda wasn't obvious yet. So this isn't I agree with you, Jed. This is not an agenda-driven movie. It's just stupid.
It's really bad.
It's really, really bad. And also, Ethan Hawke, who is a good actor, plenty of stuff. I've seen him go the way back to the space movie thing he did was with a kid with what's his name? Shit, just lost his name. He's dead now. And he's got the brother. Oh fuck. Anyway,
no clue.
It's a movie. It's a kids movie where they build a spaceship and they go off and meet some aliens that we're covering it. It's Legados will probably drop the name in a second. My brain is tapping out. I mean, this movie is, sapped all my will to think critically at this point. But he was a child actor then, and it's a good movie. And he's been in plenty of other good movies. Even Gattaca, which I thought was a meh movie. He was even decent in that. This he walked in and phoned this shit in.
Oh, absolutely.
He didn't give a shit. With porn stash and everything. Didn't give a shit. And who directed this? I didn't even.
I was two brothers.
Oh God! So they share a retarded brain, huh?
They share a little DNA, so they thought everyone should.
Yeah. Anyway,
the directors are the Spyrig brothers.
Well, this is probably the last thing they freaking did.
Yeah, not a whole lot of stuff to their names. Like Daybreakers, they were in did a movie called Winchester a couple years ago. Not the Jigsaw. They did one of the Jigsaw movies. Not a whole lot of good ratings for most of them. Predestination is their highest rated film. It looks like
that does not say a lot.
Oh, its Rotten Tomato score is pretty high.
All right, what is it? Do you have it?
Yeah. Let me just right here.
I mean,
do you want me to bring it up?
Thank you, Dash. Explorers. Thank you, Explorers. It's a good little cult classic from the 80s. Very weird. All right, let's look at this. We rarely go to other screens on this show, guys. Enjoy it. Out of 10,000,
that's
a lot.
High.
The critics, they're jerking themselves off thinking this is artsy fartsy shit. People liking it. Well,
didn't make any money though, so
no accounting for taste. I guess that's really. This movie is horrible.
It's really bad.
It is
but
bad.
Do you at least agree that it is an interesting film for different reasons?
I like your perspective. It's a lesson in how not to do shit.
Like
Go ahead.
If I ever taught a writing class at college or something like this, I would start with this movie and say, go watch this movie. Give me a report on what it did wrong. Because I think it really portrays
That's a good idea.
The pitfalls of time travel. People can get very confused by time travel. Just be weird for weird's sake. Setup and payoff is terrible in this movie. Like, it would legitimately be where I'd start with my students. Because I think there's some value to see in that.
It's value as what not to do. You are absolutely right. I agree with you completely. This is not how you do time travel. I mean, shit, I take Dragon Ball Z rules over this shit. You know how much I hate Dragon Ball Z time travel rules, which the MCU employed. This is not how you do time travel. This is not how you tell a story. You do not spend 45, 50 minutes on a backstory and then reveal that the backstory is the whole movie that doesn't actually service a real plot. There is no plot. There is no actual chase of the Fizzle Bomber. There is no real Fizzle Bomber. It's this one person, this degenerate creature that exists. And like we said, this isn't a movie created for agenda. This is somebody, and I'm going to go with what you said before. This is somebody trying to be Nolan. Maybe trying to be a little bit of M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong too. Trying to give you a twist.
And a little Stanley Kubrick in there, some 2001.
This is somebody, these are two dudes. I assume they probably wrote this thing themselves too.
These
two dudes
directed.
who probably got told for some reason whatsoever that, oh, you're really great at this in your little corner wherever you were. Let's smooth talk somebody into giving us $5 million. Let's somehow sucker Ethan Hawke into being in this movie. And we're so clever, people are going to love our artsy-fartsy bullshit. We're going to get praised at Cannes or Sundance and all this crap for our artsy movie where we didn't really tell a story, but don't you love how we created this interesting thing where a man has his own everything? No. That's not storytelling. That's self-indulgence. That's thinking, that's making something for yourself and not actually making it to entertain. This is not made to entertain anybody. It's made to be indulgent for your weird ideas and to basically get what you are going to assume is backpats from people who are equally as uncreative. Man, fuck this movie, dude. This is a dreadful movie. And it's not I'm screaming out of my mind movie. It's, as you said, it's because this is the perfect example of everything that's wrong with modern Hollywood. Everything. From writing to bland production values to basically shit acting and no purpose except to, I was going to say something very, very crude, to indulge yourself. Indulge yourself. So
would you bang Jane?
Real Jane? Like real Jane.
The
actress.
Jane.
Well, the actress, she's cute enough. I mean,
from what I heard, it seems like she's the one actor that people thought did a decent job as Jane. As John, not so much.
As John, no. As Jane, like the actual actress, when you think she's just a woman, yeah, she's cute enough. I wouldn't.
She does an okay job.
Yeah, she's okay.
She's had no career after this movie. This movie.
Oh well, I wonder why. Wonder why. And Ethan Hawke, he can shrug this shit off. He went on to do. He's done other shit since 2015. He's Ethan freaking Hawke. Yeah, I think they're even doing Gattaca 2. I think I heard recently. I think I heard Gattaca 2 might be in the works, which got all. That movie was crap too. Previous version of this show, I reviewed it. I thought it was crap. I didn't like it. But this to the dustbin of time as a movie. But for your purposes, like your idea, example of what not to do. What not to do. All right.
So you're saying you don't want to add this to the intro for Drive-In? You're not going to put this on your shelf behind you? You're not going to have your mom watch it?
I doubt you can even find this for sale on Amazon.
I was lucky. I don't know where you found it, but it's on for free on Tubi. You don't even need an account to watch it on there.
This is a and the last thing I said to Jed, this was a waste of time for a movie. It's a waste of time. But for Jed's real point for this, and I acknowledge why you do this, that this is a learning. This movie is perfect as a module of this is not how you do it from A to B, A to Z. Sorry, A to Z. Anyway, all right.
Jed.
A to Z. All right. I got nothing left to say.
There's not much to say with this movie. As soon as you exhaust the plot speaks for itself and saying this is just bananas, so it's bad. But yeah, pretty much every level of this film has issues. The dialogue is really, really bad. I can't think of anything to praise this film unless it's that perspective that we've talked about is I see value in understanding its mistakes. But it is also fun as a form of war crimes against your friends and family.
You're lucky. I'm gonna be nice to us next week. Okay, you're very lucky that
I don't know what we're gonna watch, but yeah, I've done some damage in my home with this movie.
Anyway, all right, Jed, it's your week. You get to score it first.
I don't even know if there's a point in scoring this.
I gave it a score. I do have a score.
Is it better than some of the other modern crap like Rings of Power and shit like that?
At least,
there's no hate in the movie, so I guess it gets some over Rings of Power. So I don't know, a 1.5.
1.5 for you. I give it a solid 1. It's solid 1 because listen, it gets a 1 because the chat, our viewers, our subscribers, they got to watch me suffer today. They got to watch me lose
That is
my
worth
mind just a
all the
little bit.
points.
So it gets the point for that. And listen, hey, we got 50 minutes out of this. I thought we were going to get 30 minutes out of this. We got 50 minutes today.
Well, half of it was just telling the
I
chat what
know.
happened.
Which normally we don't do. Normally we jump
No.
around. We don't know.
Well, we expect the chat to have seen the movie
Yeah.
next time, or at least have
Yeah.
an understanding of it. This one, we just can't assume that.
Yeah.
So, chat, everyone go out and watch this film. You will see some benefit in it, either as, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever, haha, or, oh, that's interesting, that's what it did wrong. But I'm sure everyone can get something positive out of this movie, but not for the sake of the movie. So, chat, go watch it.
All right.
Your friends and family deserve some entertainment watching you
next week
recover.
We're gonna do some more time travel, but we're gonna do something where they use some time travel mechanic that actually works, and we're gonna watch something that's actually good. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, baby.
Yeah. I'll take
Terminator
some
2 Judgment Day. Let's have some fun. Let's do some actual time travel that makes some goddamn sense. And let's just watch a good movie, shall we? So there you go, guys. Thank you one and all for joining us this evening. Hit that like button. We'll see you next week. And then stick around on both our channels. In about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, we'll be back for Doctor Who Cares Reviews, where we're going to lose our minds over something completely different. Anyway, guys, thanks everybody for watching. Until next time, take it easy. Have a good night or day wherever you may be.